but there were times I had to get him man-to-man.
And your favorite team that you guys love to face in your division?
Yours.
Yes, sir.
Like the games like we play against the Raiders, you might get 3 sacks when they had Jamarcus Russell, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I got 3 sacks on them. I got 3 sacks on them in the first half, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
So let's spend the last few minutes here going through. Everyone's making fun of Cody. Raiders stacked.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. So, and then Brody wanted to know, why didn't the Raiders keep Spillane?
I mean, new regime change. Pete Carroll came in. I know Patrick Graham, that was his guy that he helped bring in. Patriots obviously were building something, and Spillane, of course, having a connection with, why am I forgetting his name? Head coach. God. With Vrabel. Yeah. So I think that's why. And I'm sure the Raiders miss him, but, it is what it is.
Xavier Worthy just another John Ross?
That's not true.
That's disrespect.
And then Salute. He's brought a couple good questions. I can't wait to get a couple of these. Right here. So this is obviously for Cody.
Mm-hmm.
What would you prefer to do in the draft? 1, Mendoza at 1, 2, trade down, acquire extra capital and take Ty Simpson, or 3, trade down and get extra capital and get a QB in 2027?
See, we've had this conversation a couple of times. I'm at the point now, and I've gone back and forth on this. I've shared that with you guys. I'm at the point now where just take Mendoza number 1. It is what it is. And then just go that way. I feel like we're at the point now where if we were entertaining trading away the number 1 overall pick, we would have done it by now. I don't feel like you go 3 weeks before the draft, then all of a sudden you floated around there. That's kind of poor planning. Now, I know we've seen this on ESPN where, whatever his face, Dan Orlovsky is basically saying that Ty Simpson is better than Mendoza. And I'm sure now that's bringing up the question even more within Raider fans. But honestly, I would still say just draft Mendoza number 1, build out what you have, because the likelihood of you hitting on a Ty Simpson, and yeah, sure, you built out an extra first round pick. That's still like, we need to make sure that hits. But the one important position that we've been missing the last several seasons since, and I would even argue since Derek Carr left, is a quarterback. So just draft the quarterback and just do your thing in the draft. Like, we're too close now to the draft to all of a sudden be like, oh, let's entertain this. Like, that ship has sailed. Let's move on. It's going to be Mendoza. It makes the most sense. And he did actually really well in the college football season, at least in the playoffs, in my opinion. And it is what it is. Like, if he's a bust, he's going to be a bust, but just stick with it and roll with it. So,
well, I think if he's a bust, it's because the Raiders let him become a bust. I think it's because the Raiders didn't do what they needed to do as far as, yes, you brought in the center, but again, you got to get that line figured out, because again, Gentine, Bowers, Trey Tucker, Thornton, Betch, those guys, that's a good skill position around him. Now it's just the big uglies up front that Austin always talks about, similar to what the Chiefs. Big uglies are cool, but you got to have a pass rush on defense, and the Chiefs don't have that right now. So again, each one of our teams none of us have a perfect roster. Like, I get the Raiders spent almost $200 million, but they're far from a perfect roster. Yes, the Chargers went out and, center a couple pieces here and there. There's still a lot of holes that they have left to fill. Denver, we traded for Waddle, and we brought back literally the whole offense and defense from last year, minus Dre Greenlaw and PJ Locke. Far from perfect. So I like to what Cody's saying, you have to take chances with some of these draft picks. Like, we're not in one of those where we can't start looking at 2027 right now. That's not none of our teams are in a position where, hey, we can already look forward to 2027. That's just not at all.
Cody says.
Well, Cody can already look to 2027.
I'm the closest to it.
And again, I appreciate your comments as well. So the concern with Mendoza's ability to throw over the middle, which is where majority of the NFL games is played at, but you're going to have some guys that can take the top off as well. And Brock Bowers, they'll find a way. Do you have any thoughts on the middle of the field? We watched Mendoza pretty much the whole season. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there is a lot of, but you also have to think about Kubiak. There's going to be a lot of motion. a lot of boots, things like that as well. And that's something that he can work on, throwing over the middle. But, he has the intangibles. He showed out in big stages. And that big stage, he threw, again, I didn't watch a lot of Indiana games, watch their playoffs, though. And time after time, not only did he make big throws, but he actually throws a pretty damn nice deep ball.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're going to have the receivers to go make plays like Indiana had, like his roommate. That dude's going to be a great draft pick in a year or two.
Could be a Raider, too.
Yeah. But again, this probably isn't the best quarterback prospect to go number one overall
Right.
for a few years. But at the end of the day, I do still think he has enough. And you've heard me specifically, I trust coaching a lot. And Kubiak and his entire family has a good track record. So, even if he doesn't turn out to be, the superstar all-pro, given the coaching staff, I think he has a very good floor with that staff. Is it going to be what the Raiders want? Maybe not. Is it going to be one of those where he does okay with the Raiders, not enough for them to keep him, and then he goes to the Colts, gets paid $140 million and does well? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I trust Kubiak. And I hate saying that because I don't like the Raiders, but until Kubes fails somewhere, I kind of like whatever quarterback they decide to go with.
My thoughts on this are, I agree. I think Kubiak, I think he'll have a really, really good system in place for him. And ultimately, I mean, I think that Mendoza is going to be, I think he'll be really good in the NFL if they keep him healthy, if I'm being real with you. But yeah, I think you draft him regardless.
He was tough as nails, though.
He was. He really was.
I know it's different in the NFL, but he's tough as nails.
And I do want to say this, and Cody, you can probably agree with me here. He seems like a good dude. He really does. I don't want Raider Nation to turn on him the very first second that he does something
Read my mind.
really bad.
So
because I feel like that happens often.
100%. And like on Monday, we had our overreaction offseason post. And one of the questions that I had put in there specifically for the Raiders was like, Clint Kubiak is going to have the most pressure amongst the AFC coaches to succeed. Why? Not because of the inner circles within the NFL, the fan base. Like the fan base will cut you dry like after 5 weeks. They called for Pete Carroll's head. And now granted, like that just turned out the way it did. Like Geno Smith wasn't doing what he was doing. They cut him off like immediately. Same thing with Antonio Pierce, who I believe should have gotten more than just a 1-year opportunity to prove that he can be a coach. Now, I think what the Raiders are doing now with Clint Kubiak, John Spytek, with Tom Brady kind of helping lead the football operations side, is they're doing things that kind of would prepare an incoming rookie quarterback to succeed. Like, and I don't want to use Brody's Bears as an example to beat up on him, but you can make the argument that they had 2 quarterbacks that they kind of messed up because of how they brought them in, Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields. Like no offensive line, coaches that were on their way out that drafted him out of desperation for both of them. Justin Fields, the latest one. And you can very much make the argument that because of the poor infrastructure with the Bears and Justin Fields, they broke him. Like, I don't think he's as bad as a quarterback as he could have been had he had support. Now, what the Raiders are doing, getting the best center that they could essentially buy in free agency, getting the offensive coordinator that just won a Super Bowl. You give him the coaching staff that he wants. You bring in a quarterback coach that has ties to helping out Eli Manning and other organizations, and a 30-year quarterback vet that has proven track record. You do everything you can to set up this incoming quarterback. And just like what Corey and Caleb and everyone is saying is, it's on the coaching staff to not ruin him. Like, he's coming in with grit. He's coming in with heart, but it could very easily be wrecked by a poor ownership, poor management, poor coaching. And the Raiders are doing everything on paper to support that, or to support Mendoza to be successful. But the Raiders have a bad track record of success, which is why we have the number 1 overall pick. So the likelihood that we need to hit on this the margins aren't very high for error on this one. Like this has to be a home run on all fronts. And if we mess this up, we're just the same old thing that we've been for 25 years.
Wasn't it KOC that said organizations fail quarterbacks more than quarterbacks fail them?
Mhm.
I believe it. And here's the funny thing. KOC is going to get a quarterback that you can make the argument that he failed the organization or vice versa. And he actually might put him on the track record to have a better end to his career now rather than how it ended in Arizona, ironically enough. So